Good morning, Cleveland and beyond. This is Coffee bringing you the Black Anthropy radio show where we shine a black light on people, nonprofit organizations, for-profit businesses, and entrepreneurs who are impacting the lives of individuals, families, and the community by providing knowledge, resources, opportunities, and inspiration. And this morning, we have someone again who is checking all four of our boxes of knowledge, resources, opportunities, and inspiration. Her name is Miss Sherry White. She is the founder, CEO, and president of a nonprofit organization she created called My Sister's Keeper. And I will let Sherry kick it off by telling us what My Sister's Keeper is and why she started the organization.
Well, thank you so much for allowing me to be here, Coffee. Of course, my name is Sherry, and I started My Sister's Keeper because I had cancer. So in 2011, December 2011, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. No family history, no knowledge whatsoever of breast cancer. It was devastating for me. If I allowed it, it would throw me into the in an asylum somewhere, because it questioned who I was. But after going through my treatment, and of course, I realized just looking around that a lot of people didn't know enough about breast cancer. And many of us, we come from the generation of what goes in the household stays in the household. Mm-hmm. But when you're dealing with breast cancer, yes, the more people know, the better we can fight it. Yes. So in 2015, I would say I started doing fundraisers just to help other women as they were going through cancer treatment and giving them the money to either cover medical expenses or just whatever transitional services that they may have needed. And in 2018, I started My Sister's Keeper. And we are a nonprofit organization that is pretty much led by survivors, or what we call warriors. We provide supportive care services, whatever that looks like. Our goal and our mission is to revitalize the spirit of womanhood and try to take away those stresses in life so that the person or our sister who's undergoing any type of cancer treatment can focus more so on healing. So we take those stresses away from her, whether it's child care, whether it's bill payment assistance, whether it's meals, whether it's nutrition, whatever it needs, we embody all aspects of being that person's sister and try to take those burdens away.
Wow, that is so awesome. And, I meet so many people that, like you, that have an experience and then create an organization to help other people to try to ease that burden, provide that comfort of going through a similar experience. And so, what are some of the programs that you initially started out with, and then that's the good thing about starting an organization, right? On your own organization, I should say, not on your own so much, but like, how do you start? Say, what programs am I going to start? So, how did you come up with? Okay, let me do a fundraiser to help other people because people, have an issue and they don't think, okay, I survived it. How do I help other people? It's like whatever. Yeah. These people helped me. These people didn't, and
So it first started off with money. So I was blessed and I was fortunate enough to. So one of my surgeries, I had to be out for 2 months, for example. My job was so accommodating that when I was able to, they allowed me to work from home. Everybody don't have that fortune. So that was one thing I wanted to do. Because of that stress of money or having to worry about paying my bills, I didn't have that. And I can imagine the toll it would take on someone who does. So I did a fundraiser. And then after that, when I fully established My Sister's Keeper, one of the first things we started with was makeup.
Wow. Right. Yeah.
So makeup, I'm wearing a lot of makeup today, excuse me.
It doesn't look like it, by the way. It doesn't look like it.
But before my cancer journey, I was a tomboy. I really didn't. I dressed okay, I'd say, but I wasn't really a girly girl.
Yeah.
And then when I was diagnosed with cancer, I didn't care anymore about how I looked because I was so worried about, I'm gonna die. Why make the effort? So I started looking like I was dying, and then I realized that people were looking at me and treating me because of how I looked. So I said, let me change something up. Let me do something. Start wearing wigs, start wearing makeup, dresses, heels, you name it. and nobody looked at me anymore like I had cancer.
Wow.
So it kind of made me feel better internally, which gave me the strength to continue to fight. So it's power in self-esteem, and I wanted to evoke that within the women because we think it's disconnected, but it is not. So the first service we provided was makeup, and just hair wigs. We did bras, and then it evolved to sisters. So one of our sisters we have little sisters and big sisters. Our little sisters are women who currently are in treatment.
Ah.
Our big sisters is someone who's going to call and check in on you. Most of them are women who have won their battle.
Okay.
And so they're paving the way for you to help you to answer the questions that you need answers to. Nobody wants to tell you a lot of stuff. It seems like you're diagnosed. But that's where we started, and we evolved to so many different services through the support of the community. Everyone has been impacted by cancer one way or another.
Right.
And then when we connect with businesses, other resources, because of that connection, they want to help.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
So we've grown. We do it all.
Wow. And so that is so. So what did they think? Like, I have cancer. I go to this organization for help, and they want to give me makeup. What did the ladies think? Like, is this for real?
So it's kind of different. We didn't offer everybody makeup. We get to know our sisters personally. We get to know, hey, she's not gonna like makeup, but then maybe she will. But we get to know that person to understand what we can offer them to help them to feel better. But I will tell you, the first time we offered it to someone, a lady, Patricia Smith, God rest her soul, she was battling from lung cancer. And I would go over there and visit her. She just looked very tired, very weak. And I said, you know what? Let's change that. I said, you want to get your makeup done? She said, yeah, I do it. Okay, so I came back with the makeup crew. She came, we got there. She's still looking tired, lethargic. And then after she got her makeup done, she turned into a totally different person.
Wow.
She was talking.
Wow.
It just made her feel more alive.
Wow.
So with that connection, we share stories so other people can see the connection as well. But it's pretty easy.
Wow, that has to be. You're not expecting that.
No.
Like you say, you get in there, you get these people bake you up, and then you're like, wow, it kind of takes your mind away from the fact that you have that and gives you something else to kind of, look forward to each day. If you don't look good,
Yes.
kind of check yourself,
Yeah.
right? And so that's awesome, right? So then you start with the makeup, and then what else do you start realizing that, let me add this service in, let me do this?
It's very personalized. So, for example, there's recently was a sister who was taking care of her mom.
Mm-hmm.
They live in two different households. But how she couldn't physically go and check on her mom because she's in surgery, just in surgery. So I said, let us get you a camera. So we got her one of those home cameras where you can connect it to your phone and stream it on Wi-Fi. So therefore, she's watching her mom from her home on her phone. So it depends on what the need is. So we just plug in those gaps. Her mom was her stress. Her mom was her worry. Not a stress, but a worry. She wanted to make sure her mom was going to be okay, even though she's going through what she's doing. So we provided that mechanism for her.
Wow. Oh, that is so, and that's, again, one reason why I created Black Anthropy radio show is because I do freelance journalism. And when you're doing that, you can't, you have a word limit, these editorial guidelines, and you can't get all of this stuff in there like that, and then you can only tell, maybe 2 or 3, you're lucky if you get to tell the story of 3 different people, but I know that, like guests that I asked to come on and they come on, you can tell that these organizations such as yours, they have to evolve. It can't be a check the box. It has to be, what do people want when they come in? You can tell that, but I imagine like a lot of nonprofit organizations, they kind of, start out with one mission, but then, it doesn't take a lot to get off, the rails and start getting into stuff, other stuff. So that's why I always like to talk about, like, how did you figure out what programs and services to provide for people? So then what's your intake process like? And then if I get cancer or if I know someone who has cancer, how do I get to my sister's keeper?
There's various mechanisms. So either if you're in hospital, I know we have connection or partnership with Cleveland Clinic, Metro Health, Cancer Pavilion, and Simon Cancer Center. So if you start your services there and you connect with a social worker, And if that social worker identifies that you need some supportive care services, they will make that referral to us. The other options is going to our website, and it's myskcle.org, and there's a button that says Become a Sister. Just fill out the form. It's asking for information about you. What's your cancer story? Why do you want to become a sister? And then once that is done, we have an intake coordinator. Her name is Ari. She'll give you a call to learn more about you and really get a sense of your personality and who you are. She communicates that information back to me, and based off of that information, or I may call you myself, just to learn more about your personality so I can match you with a big sister.
Okay. And so then, recurring events. How long did it, you've only been around for a few short years. And one of the most amazing things, as I've talked about with you before, including this morning, is how you started in 2018. And, we'll all never forget the pandemic in March that shut everything down, and the effect and the impact that it has had on a lot of businesses and a lot of people's lives. And your organization has flourished through it all. And so please talk about what, starting in 2015, the organization, and then experiencing the pandemic and what you did during that process.
Yeah, so it's multiple perspectives, I would say. The first thing I think you need to pay attention to who you're serving. Our audience told us what they want, and we just got to listen. They may not tell you straight out, flat out, directly what you're supposed to do, but they give you the tools to tell you what they need. And then from there, as far as developing those recurring events, it's just what are some things that I think, or speaking with other women who's going through their cancer journey, what are some things that they think they need? So it's just knowing that and just engaging and connecting with the community and establishing those mechanisms. So for example, one of our board members, and I'll call her name Lavada because if I don't, she'll be mad at me. But she wanted to do a prayer circle. We didn't really add in the holistic aspects at the beginning, but the prayer circle is something that we need. A lot of people fall heavily on prayer when they're diagnosed with a deadly illness. So we do that weekly.
So when they're in a desperate situation like me, double down on my prayers.
Yes.
I know you're busy, Almighty. I pray to all of them. I know y'all busy, and my problems is small in the grand scheme. But like you say, people, what else you gonna do? That's the first thing you say is, oh my God, right?
Right, exactly. But you touched on the pandemic, and that's when we grew. So when we first started My Sister's Keeper, we focused on breast cancer. Our community told us we need to focus on more than breast cancer. So we focus on all cancers. We may not be an expert in it, but we're going to be there to help you and figure it out with you. And then when the pandemic hit, so we always did a walk. We always do an annual walk called a Walk in Her Shoes. It's in the community. And the way that we design this walk is every 2 years we change locations. We go to underserved neighborhoods just to raise awareness and the impact of cancer, just to get us to talk about it more and learn how to prevent it. So the pandemic hit. How are we gonna do a walk? I'm like, well, we got Zoom. So let's try to do a virtual walk. We saw some other organizations doing virtual walks. And we was like, let's do it. And our idea about it was everyone just sign up, register. We send you out T-shirts, and you walk in your neighborhood, and walk. And just we are all connected by virtual, by Zoom. But what had happened was we had a lot of different community partners, I would say. So we had Blueprint Fitness, who did some exercising for us. Nobody was out. It was only one person, I would say, who was actually walking in the neighborhood while we was on Zoom. But everybody else was at their home, exercising, having fun.
Okay.
It was the best walk we ever had.
Right.
And ever since then, we've just been taking off. So now we expand to parts of Kentucky, Texas.
I saw that, yes.
That was the pivotal point for us.
Wow. So then talk about your Pretty in Pink.
Oh, Pretty in Pink. All right. So we were planning on doing Pretty in Pink 2019 when the pandemic hit. We sold out all the tickets, but we canceled it because of COVID. We didn't want, women with cancer are very susceptible to illnesses. COVID, we definitely do not want them to have. So we canceled it. So Pretty in Pink is a fashion show that celebrates women caregivers who have been impacted by cancer. we use the stories of cancer to help educate the community, and we partner with designers. I mean, big time designers, and they make clothes for our warriors to hit the runway and just embracing themselves. So Pretty in Pink is not a fashion show to us. I call Pretty in Pink a process. It's kind of a crash course of my cancer journey, what I think helped me. For instance, the makeup and stuff, you know, getting dressed up, dialed up, and letting that energy just heal you. But also what I needed in my cancer journey that I didn't have, that I feel that if I had it, I would have survived sooner, was that connection, that sisterhood, knowing someone who's been in the journey and the fight that I'm in and who can help me. So that Pretty in Pink from the beginning, from the model call to the rehearsals to the day of the show, it's about building that relationship. And it's about healing each other because there's healing top priorities with us. We found out a lot with COVID.
Oh,
you know, we need each other. Yes. So it's more so about the connections and those relationships we build behind the scenes of a fashion show.
And so the little sisters and the big sisters participate in it, and then they ask if they can participate in it. I'm sure you all solicit, but then too, you know, you all put out a notice you're going to have it, and then people they want to be a part of it. Wow.
Yes. So our primary folks, we want our sisters to be a part of it. Our big sisters, we even have professional models. So we don't focus just on anyone with cancer. We focus on caregivers as well, because it's a different story. When you say, for instance, somebody in your family has cancer, it impacts you too. You may not directly be impacted, but it did something to you. So we want to recognize that too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's all of us. We celebrate.
Wow. Who doesn't like a nice, fashionable event, especially to look up to? When you're involved in an event, it gives it a whole different feel and vibe and experience. The experience, you know, when you go, like if you go to a concert, you know, like, like I may love Sade, but wow, to actually see everything be constructed and see the whole production put together, it gives it a whole different experience. And it makes you kind of look forward to it the next year, you know. And so then, tell me about your Reviving Prayer Circle. So you're going to be doing that on a consistent basis.
So we take a break in the summer because kids and you know, they tire us out. But mostly during the calendar year, every Tuesday at 6:30, we do our Reviving Prayer Circle. So we invite a different prayer leader. You know, we give them a word. So the prayer leader before your assigned prayer day, you are given a word. So say, for instance, grace. So you have to focus your prayer around the word of grace. Oh, wow. And so we let you run with it. You know, whatever you need to communicate, however you need to hold your session is how you do it.
How much advance notice do I get?
Well, a week before. Yeah, so a week before. Yeah, so you're going to have to come on. But they're really fun.
Okay. That's awesome. Yeah, because, you know, like you said, you want different programs, different services, because the different people subscribe to different things. And, you know, that's the whole thing is inclusivity versus exclusivity. You know, you want to bring more people in and make people feel welcome. Because that was an interesting thing that I was going to ask you about, and I'll get to a little bit later, is about the different type of lung cancers that you get and the diagnosis part. But then you also have my sister circle, the educational forum. Talk about that a little bit.
Right. So my sister circles are Monday, and this with our prayer circles are actually virtual. We host them on Zoom and we stream them live on Facebook. So you know how when you have certain questions and you're scared to ask them, and then the other option is that you don't know who to ask. So we bring those people forward. So for example, we had my plastic surgeon. I love her. Andrea Moran. I love her. So I had her come on and she talked about different reconstruction options. So if you had a specific question that you're not sure of how to ask or who to ask, this would be the opportunity to ask those questions. Because my mama always said you don't know the answer unless you ask. So we just bring in experts to the forefront so we can ask those burning questions or just learn a little bit more about a specific topic associated with cancer.
Wow, that, you know, and you know, I like that because you can have cancer, you can be in any kind of situation, and you can kind of be going through that experience based on what you heard or what you thought or your perception of something. But it's really something else to get it from, like you said, what's an expert. I'm an expert on me, but learning, you know, the expert has, you know, done extensive research, has had experience with, you know, lots of people. in order to arrive at the decisions and the philosophies and beliefs and the facts that they do have. And so I really like that. And again, that's one reason why I started the radio show. And I so believe in nonprofit organizations, especially smaller ones like yours, because you get to craft that organization around the people that you are servicing rather than creating an organization that you want to that shines you as this thoughtful great person. And it's the smaller organizations that keep it so close to that mission, the whole reason you started the organization, and it allows you to grow so much more easily. Talk about and that's one thing that I really like about your organization. You know what do we consider small, right? That's subjective. To some extent, it's subjective. But the thing that I like is all of this, the way you've constructed it. You have a full board. You're able to do all of these events because you have board members who have background and expertise in so many different things. So when you say I have an educational forum, it's not just, well, we just gonna, no, I have the people to really be able to uh, provide education to people about what they're experiencing. Talk about how you constructed that board, how it came to be that you identified these people that you wanted to be on the board, why you know those things were important.
Ooh, that's a very hard question. So how it came, it was just, I think fate was the reason.
Yeah.
So during my journey, I had a few people who helped me through it. I know one of them was my hairstylist, Felicia Berry. Thank you, I love you. I told her what I wanted to do. I wanted to start a nonprofit. And so she started introducing me to other people who may have had some before, or who would be a good asset to know. And then just networking, having those conversations. And so one of the strongest, I would say, partnership, who's also a member of my board, is Black Nurses Society. This organization speaks to everything that we do. Cancer, you're always sick. You're always feeling some certain type of way. You're not sure where to go. And sometimes you may not get that answer from your provider because they're rushed.
Right.
So they take the time and answer those questions for you. So I like that. And then the president, Shani Witherspoon, dropping names, she's also an oncology nurse.
Wow.
So it sings so closely to the things that we're doing. And then the more conversations that I have, because again, everybody has that connection with cancer, if they know what we're doing, and I think that a lot of people see that we are pure to what we're doing, we're not using cancer as a business to gain money. We are all volunteering our time to literally save lives from our perspective. And I think when people see that, they're willing to help. So that's when the nutritionist came in. The nutritionist, Latanya Ford, she's a nutritionist at UH, and actually she's a part of Black Nurses Society. And she reached out to me. She said, I'm a nutritionist. I want to provide some services. And that's how it comes. We're still blessed. No, she wasn't technically a cancer nutritionist, but she learned what she needed to learn to help our sisters.
To volunteer.
Yes. That's what we've been really blessed. I cannot say we've been very blessed. People come to us, or we reach out to someone. So there's another lady, Diarrhea Queen Esther, that we're forming a partnership with as it relates to skincare. Creating those natural products, because your skin tends to be dry when you're on chemo or radiation. Creating those natural products that won't cause any other issues. Tell us about it. How can we do it? So she's teaching us those type of things. But it's just been so natural. I mean, I think I'm surrounded by a bunch of amazing women, and they too are surrounded by a bunch of amazing people, and we just get to know each other and see how we can help one another.
Wow, that is so amazing. Yeah, I try to take myself in that direction and do that. When you do something and people, see something in you and they like something about you, I really have learned to really try to embrace that rather than be like, why are they near me? And so, but when like I say, it really shows up in your organization though, because to start 2 years before the pandemic, and then to grow and continue to have events during the pandemic, it really does show that, again, people see the authenticity and they want to be a part of it. There's a need. And it's really unfortunate to me that again, this is the Black Anthropy radio show produced by No Static Radio in Cleveland, Ohio. This type of stuff isn't going to be on the mass media. This is the kind of stuff that should be, though. Because a lot of people are experiencing cancer. They've never heard of your organization. And the important thing that I hope to be able to do with Black Anthropy is as people listen to you, or even as people learn about you, however they learn about you, is either they copy what you do or you be a resource to them. Well, how did you do this? Well, I can get a nutritionist. Even if I want to start out, at least I have something that I can start with. You do a wigs program, and so talk about your wigs and how you establish your connection with the different salons.
Yeah, so this is people come to us. It's just a connection. So it started off in maybe 2019. I went to a health fair and I met this young lady from iSalon Plus who also we have vendor tables at this event. So I got my cancer table, my sister's keeper. Then across the hall, she has her table, and it's all pretty too, and it's all breast cancer too. I'm like, what's she